Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 For everyone here who knows who I mean when I say Prabhupada. Who doesn't know who I mean when I say Prabhupada? Sometimes you don't know. This is His Divine Grace, K.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. He's the pure devotee of Krishna, sent by Krishna to preach the message of Lord Chaitanya in Krishna. Lord Chaitanya is Krishna in the preach in the world, especially in the English-speaking world, but now it's all over the world, of course. You can't really concentrate. And some people are really good at talking, children talking, but I'm not. Anyway, before, you may know, you do know, most of you, that before Prabhupada came here in 1965, and he began the ISKCON Society in earnest. ISKCON means the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And some people in the beginning, he began it in 1966 in New York City, in a very, very small way. He came from India with nothing, hardly any money at all, about $40. And he didn't know anyone here. And he didn't know where he was going to stay. Well, he knew where he was going to stay in the very beginning, but that was only for a month or two. And then he was on his own. And but depending on Krishna, he went to New York City from Pennsylvania, and he gradually, he struggled alone for about a year, and then he attracted some sincere followers in the summer of 1966, and began the first ISKCON temple in a small storefront at 26 2nd Avenue in New York City. And before Prabhupada came to the United States, you may know, of course, everyone here is relatively young, or pretty young, so you don't know that before 1966, there was no Krishna consciousness anywhere in the world outside of India. Of course, India is the land of Krishna, so everyone knows Krishna from birth to some extent. But outside of India, there was zero Krishna consciousness. I mean, nothing. There was no temple, there was no Bhagavad Gita as it is. There were Bhagavad Gita translations, of course, in the United States for hundreds of years. But Prabhupada makes the point that before he presented Bhagavad Gita as it is, not one person in hundreds of years, not one person took Krishna's words seriously and surrendered to Krishna as a bhakta, as an aspiring devotee of Krishna, giving up everything else and surrendering to Krishna. It never happened. But when Prabhupada presented his Bhagavad Gita as it is means as Krishna spoke it, as Krishna intended it. Before he presented Bhagavad Gita as it is, people read the Bhagavad Gita, scholars and all kinds of hippies and all kinds of people read Bhagavad Gita, but nobody surrendered to Krishna. But when Prabhupada gave Bhagavad Gita as it is, then hundreds, thousands, now millions and millions of people all over the world are seriously surrendering to Krishna in full devotional service, giving up everything else and taking Krishna consciousness as our life and soul. So you should be aware that we're living in a very fortunate time because of Prabhupada. Before him, there was nothing. And anyways, so at least everyone has to know who Prabhupada is. Most people do, but not everyone. Not every Indian knows. So I always ask for that at the beginning. And so anyways, this is we're leading up to next week. Next Sunday is Ram Navami, the appearance of Lord Ramchandra, and everyone here is familiar with the Ramayana and many of the stories you've learned from early childhood, and I know so much of it. So next week, try to come next Sunday for sure if you can. It's one of our major festivals. Lord Ram is another incarnation of Krishna. Is incarnation of Krishna as an ideal king, exemplary king, and there are so many Ram bhaktas in India, obviously, and so one of the main, one of the central, definitely features of Lord Ram's pastimes is the loyalty, the faithfulness of his devotees, his brothers, Lakshman, and his brothers, and of course Mother Sita and Hanuman, so many, all of Lord Ram's many servants, relatives, the citizens of Ayodhya. They're all faithful and loyal followers of Krishna. So that's to the extent that when Ram left Ayodhya, was exiled, Sita went with him. She was a princess, she's delicate lady, not expected to go into the forest and live in an austere, simple life, but out of love and faithfulness to her husband, she went. And Lakshman, he insisted on going also. And so the faithfulness, loyalty is key to our development in spiritual life. Our spiritual life is a vague term. Everyone talks on, people will say things like, I'm a very spiritual person. And they're very proud. They're like, I'm a spiritual person. And everyone is a spiritual person. Everyone. There's no exception. Where each one of us is eternally part and parcel of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So each one of us is nothing but spiritual. We become entangled in material activities in the material world out of illusion, thinking that we belong, thinking that we're the body. We're not the body. Krishna's first instructions to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita are, well, the wise, they don't lament for what is not worthy of grief. The soul, you, Arjuna, you're not the body. You're the soul. For the soul, there's never birth nor death, nor having once been, does he ever cease to be. But everyone in material illusion identifies very strongly with this thing, this love of matter that we as the spirit soul, we're engaged in. We're trapped in this material body, and the illusion of Maya. Maya means illusion, or that which is not. So the illusion of Maya makes us think you're the body. When you're in the body of an elephant, when we were in the body of an elephant or an ant or a plant, we thought, oh, I'm an elephant. I'm a monkey, I'm a tree. Whatever body we're put into, life after life, we fully identify with that body. The body of a tree, you think, I'm a tree. But you don't have very developed consciousness in the body of a tree, a little more so in the body of an animal. A cat thinks, I'm a cat. I do what cats do, I'm a cat. And when you're in the body of a human being, as we all are now, you think, oh, I'm a human being. I come from India, or I come from the United States, or I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm a child. We identify fully with the body that we occupy, that we're engaged in. And this is a very bad thing, because we're not the body. It's like if you get in your car and you drive the car and you think, oh, I'm a Lexus, or I'm a Cadillac, or I'm a Prius. That would be silly. You're in the car, you're making it work, but you're not the car. And so now we're occupying the body of a human being from this place or that place, and we think this is what I am. But that's just as much a mistake, an illusion, as if you thought I'm a Prius or I'm a Lexus or something. It's very detrimental, because we base all our activities and all our thoughts, all our desires on the basis of the body. I am this, so I want this, and I want that. Why? For my body, for my mind, intelligence, false ego, which is described by Krishna as the subtle material body. The gross material body is made of earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And the subtle material body is mind, intelligence, and false ego. Real ego is that I am a pure spirit soul, eternal spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and I am Krishna's eternal servant. And material consciousness, or false ego, is I am this body, this is where I live, this is my place, and I center all my activity, and I'm independent. And there's God, or some people say there is no God. Most people will say, okay, there's God, but I have my life to live, and God doesn't really care much what I do, or maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. God has all these rules: thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt not. Or there's so many rules in the Vedas. So people are don't so much like that. Oh, I don't want God so much, if there is a God, because he has all these rules. But I like a lot of times kids leave home when they're teenagers or 20 years old, because I don't like all my parents' rules. I want to be independent, do my own thing. So that's our position in the material world. We've left Krishna out of a desire to be independent and have control, what we think is control, over my own activities, my own lives. I don't need all these rules from my parents anymore. Of course, Indian society is different than American society, even today, to a large extent. Most young people have much more of dedication to parents and than a lot of people like Americans. And but anyway, we're all in a rebellious condition against Krishna. We wanted to enjoy separately from Krishna and be independent, not have to serve Krishna. Everyone is serving Krishna. Why do I have to serve Krishna all the time? Why can't I be served? Why can't I be in charge of this and that? So we think, okay, now I'm in charge of this family, this business, this country, this whatever. At least I'm in charge of my own body. We're not We're not even in charge of our own body. When you're tired, you have to sleep. When your body says, I'm hungry, you have to eat. When your body gets some kind of illness, you can't move, you have to lie down on the bed. So we're not even in charge of our own body. And we don't belong in this world. We think, oh, this is where I am, this is where my parents live, this is where everything happens, this is where I live, this is my place, this world. But we don't belong in this world. We belong with Krishna in the spiritual world. This is a foreign place to us. It's a place that's full of suffering. Everyone in the material world, we're suffering from mental anxieties, mental pain, physical pain, birth, old age, disease, and death, repeated war, hurricane, earthquake. We're suffering every day, all the time. But we take it as normal because we've been here so long, and we think, well, this is where I am. This is what life is like, and this is what life is. This place. It's like sometimes there's a woman who's in prison, and she gives birth to a baby in prison sometimes, and she has to stay in prison with her baby, and so the child grows up thinking, well, I live in prison. This is my home. But so he doesn't even realize or think hardly that, well, there's an outside world where I can be free, because he's used to being in prison. He's born there. So that's our position in the material world. We've taken so many births in this material world, and we think we belong here. But it's a foreign place to us. It's a prison for us. And it's a place where we're, like in the United States, prisons were originally called reformatories or penitentiaries. Penitent means you regret what you did, what you're supposed to regret what you did in your life to put you in prison, and you decide, well, I'm sorry I did that, and now I want to change. Or reformatory is the same basic meaning. I'm in prison because I was criminal, but now I want to reform. So sometimes they do. Sometimes they reform or are very penitent. But that's the idea of the prison, of the material world. It's a place where we are being punished all the time. We're suffering all the time. And we don't like it, but we don't know how to get out of here. We don't even think we should get out of here. But the fact of the matter is that we don't belong here. We belong in the spiritual world. We belong in Vaikuntha. We belong in Krishna Loka with Krishna, and behave and be pure devotees. So we can do that, and that's the purpose of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. The purpose of this movement that Prabhupada started is started by Lord Chaitanya. It's started by Krishna. Krishna comes to the material world to exhibit his pastimes in Vrindavan and Mathura and Dwarka, to attract us to him, so that we don't have to stay here, so that we can be attracted to him and go back to where we belong. And Krishna, a name for Krishna, our meaning for the name Krishna is all attractive. And there are so many features of somebody is attractive in the material world if they're very beautiful, very strong, very rich, very there are so many 6 basic attractive features. So Krishna is the source of all attractive features. He is infinitely beautiful. He's infinitely intelligent. he knows, he says in Bhagavad Gita, I know everything that happened in the past, I know everything that's happening in the present, and I know everything that will happen in the future. But me, no one knows. Everyone doesn't have to leave. You can stay. It won't always be boring. I'll try to make it better. You can leave if you have to. Anyway, so we're here in the material world, and we shouldn't stay here. We shouldn't stay here. And the purpose of the Krishna consciousness movement is so that we can get out of here. We can go back home, back to God, and it's available to us. Just like you can think about your home in India, and you know that in my hometown, my home city in India, I could go there right now, and everything is going on. The people are, life is booming in my home place. Everything is going on. I could go there. In one day, I could be in India, and I would just have to join in with whatever is going on there. So it's like that. The spiritual world, Krishna Loka, is going on right now. And it's always going on. Krishna is dancing with the gopis. Krishna is being taken care of by Nanda and Yashoda. Krishna is playing with the cowherd boys. It's going on. And we hear about those things. And we can go there very easily. It's not that it's difficult to go back home, back to God. It's difficult to stay in this material world. That's what's difficult. Material world is governed by Durga, and Durga, the meaning of Durga is like a fort that is very, very insurmountable. You're trapped in some fort, you can't get out of it. There are high walls and it's locked. You can't get out. So the material world is governed by Durga. It's a place to stay and be punished, but we don't have to stay here. Our real place is with Krishna in the spiritual world, and that's where we belong. So in order to do that, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, we can do that, go back home, back to Godhead, by devoting ourselves to Krishna. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, only by devotional service can I be known, standing before you as I am. The people try all kinds of things, meditation and mystic yogic powers to achieve some spiritual realization. But there's really only one way to know God and to go to God, to Krishna in the spiritual world. And it's the same way that you get to know anyone in the material world. So if you meet somebody, boy meets girl, or you get married, people, you make a friend, you want to be friends with someone. There's only one way to get to know them intimately. And the only way to get to know someone is by showing devotion to them. In this world, you have to show that I care about you. I'm interested in you. I want to know you. I want to love you. I want to become very close to you. So the only way to do that, the only way to know anybody, even a dog or a cat or anyone, any living entity, is even people talk to their plants and help their plants grow like that. To get to know anyone, you have to show them your devotion. So why should it be any different with Krishna? Krishna is the supreme person. God is a person. And if we want to know Krishna, if we want to go back to God, only by devotional service can I be known, can Krishna be known, standing before you as he is. So, so in any relationship, there's the most fundamental responsibility in any relationship family relationship, friend relationship, is devotion, is loyalty. His friend is, you have to be loyal to that person. You have to show your devotion. You have to be faithful. In marriage, the most important thing is faithfulness. The husband might have this fault and that fault, and the wife has this problem and that problem. But if they're faithful to each other, they can have a long-lasting, good relationship in marriage or any relationship. There has to be loyalty and faithfulness. Right? And so in Krishna consciousness, we have to, and the example is given of a dog. And if anyone here has had a dog, I don't know. But I had a dog when I lived in Gitanagari for a long time. It's in the country, so we could go outside and roam around. But the example of a dog is that they're very loyal, very faithful. Anytime the man or woman calls the dog, it's right there, ready to be pet or serve in any way that he can. It's very faithful and loyal. And that's the most appreciated thing about a dog. So we're trying to be dogs of Krishna. That's not an insult. There's statements like that by Bhaktivinoda Thakur and other acharyas in our disciplic succession. I just want to be the dog of my spiritual master, the dog of Krishna. Because the essential feature of a dog is loyalty, faithfulness, is devotion. So we want to know Krishna. We have to show that we're loyal. I do mine. I'm imperfect. I fail in this way. I'm not I can't learn many Shastric verses. I'm not this, I'm not that. We have so many shortcomings. But if Krishna says, when Krishna sees that, oh, he's always there for me. She's always there for me. She's always attentive. She's always thinking about me. She's always trying to serve in some way. Then Krishna very much appreciates that. Above all other things, Krishna appreciates our faithfulness and devotion, loyalty. So that's the key feature in any relationship, and of course with Krishna. How could it be any less with Krishna than with any husband or wife or child or dog in the material world? It's everything in relationship to Krishna is accentuated to the ultimate degree. Krishna in the 1866 in the Bhagavad Gita said, just give up everything else and surrender to me. I shall protect you from all fear. Do not worry, do not be in anxiety. So that's everyone here knows that that's our attempt, our devoted attempt in Krishna consciousness is to become a faithful servant of Guru and Krishna. So that's the purpose. And the ISKCON society is a perfect medium for contacting Krishna, coming close to Krishna, and being given access to so many other bhaktas, so many other serious, sincere devotees. And there's so many great devotees in the ISKCON movement. You'll find that if we're acquainted with the Krishna consciousness movement, there's so many great devotees all over the world. And we just have to follow in their footsteps, beginning with Srila Prabhupada. Of course, he's the spiritual master for all the devotees in the ISKCON movement. All of us, we study his books and we come to his temple and we worship his deities. And so, there's unlimited ways that anyone can come and offer their service. And as soon as we do that, then we're accepted into Krishna's company. And we become accepted. And we make a very rapid advancement in Krishna consciousness just by beginning to chant Hare Krishna and by serving Krishna. Prabhupada gave one example of how the advancement in Krishna consciousness is so quick. It's very quick. And because these are a couple of examples that he gave. So when you get on an airplane, now you're on the airplane and it's sitting there and it begins to take off. And within a minute or two, you're 5-6 miles up in the air and you're going 600 miles an hour. And you're going really fast. And 1 minute before, you were on the ground sitting in one place. So you compare that's an example of the speed which we make advancement when we take part in the temple activities, in the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya. And another example is that he gave is if somebody's riding a bike, and I recently saw this when I was in Mayapur a few weeks ago. We were in a rickshaw, Toto, in Mayapur, and they don't go fast, but they go like 15 miles an hour or so. And somebody was riding beside us on the bike, and he grabbed onto the back of the Toto, and then he was going that fast. So he said that was another example. On our own, we don't have the power to advance quickly at all in Krishna consciousness, but we just catch on to join in the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya, and then we go very, very fast. The advancement in Krishna consciousness, very fast. And Prabhupada heard him speaking recently in India, and he was, so most of the people there were Indians growing up in the culture, and he had several of his American and European disciples with him. And we didn't come from any culture like that. We didn't come from that culture, but we didn't know Krishna. Nobody knew Krishna. But he pointed out his disciples who had been with him for just 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years. And this was in like 1970. So it was only a few years since he started. So he pointed out his disciples, and he said that these American boys and girls, they didn't know anything about Krishna, but just in a couple of years, you can see how far they've come. You can see that they're very enthusiastic and devoted to the service of Krishna. You can see that they're making very rapid advancement in Krishna consciousness. So that's the very simple formula. And all we have to do is hold on and take active part in the ISKCON society and the Hare Krishna movement. And all of us can go back home, back to Godhead, very quickly in this life. You don't even have to leave your body to go back to Godhead in your heart, in your consciousness. Like Prabhupada described these paintings of Krishna and Lord Chaitanya, he described them as windows into the spiritual world. So the whole ISKCON society is an entrance, is a very easy entrance into the spiritual world, into Krishna Loka. So so Lord Chaitanya's movement, the Sankirtan movement, is a very, very fast and easy way to make so much advancement so quickly and go back home, back to God. And we should always be encouraged and happy And people, some people may ask us, or people ask me sometimes, well, how are you? How are you doing? And I said, no, I have physical pain, I have this problem, that problem. So then we have problems, but no, I'm doing good. We're going back home, back to Godhead. How can I not be good? I'm very happy because I'm going back to Godhead. We can all go back to Godhead very easily. It's not exclusive in any way. It's meant for everyone, especially the human beings, and especially the people born in Bharatvarsha or India. They have they're naturally Krishna conscious by birth, a natural tendency to worship God and take seriously to the service of Krishna. It's not an ordinary birth to take place, the most exalted birth in the universe, as described in the fourth canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, to take birth in the land of India. So you should be very grateful for that. But the other feature of that is just like in a family, if there's a little boy or girl that's like 2 or 3 years old, they have no responsibility. They run around and play and knock things over, break things, or whatever. They do whatever they want. And the parents don't expect really much of anything of the young child. But when the child is older, like 10, 12, 15, 20 years old, the parents expect a lot from the kids when he's older, when they get older. So that his responsibility is expected to know better. Like the common saying, parents will say, well, you should know better. You should know better. You should know better by the time you're grown up. So birth in India or being in the Krishna consciousness movement for some period of time, any period of time, we're expected to know better. We have more responsibility. So Prabhupada, when he spoke in India, spoke to Indian people, he was more demanding of them, more demanding of them because they should know better. They should know not to become involved so heavily in fruitive activities, in karma kanda, in jnana kanda. They should know that the purpose of the benefit of my life is to be able to easily take to devotional service to Krishna. And so you have much more responsibility. And the real responsibility is to help spread Krishna consciousness. It's just like if there were to be, suppose, a pandemic, for instance, and you had a vaccine for it. Well, if you could say, well, I'll vaccinate myself, I'll vaccinate my family. Well, maybe I should go out and vaccinate other people so they don't have to get sick and die. So that would be a natural thing to think. There's so many people who are sick. Maybe I should share what I have with them so that they won't get sick and die. So that's along with the responsibility of taking care of ourselves and helping ourselves go back home, back to Godhead. Of course, that's the first consideration. We have to first take care of ourselves, but along with taking care of ourselves, we should join in the preaching mission of ISKCON, help in some way. Definitely come to the temple, definitely help in the preaching activities. One of the most fundamental ways, this isn't a big push for donations, but it's a philosophical point. It's very important when we should help in the family life They're making money, and mostly people, when they make money, they say, well, I need a car, I need this, I need that, my wife needs this, my kids need that. All right, so you buy those things, but you're to a reasonable extent, but a significant portion of your hard-earned money should be dedicated for the preaching movement of Lord Chaitanya. Help the temple financially, because you can't always come to the temple. You can't go in the kitchen and wash pots, or oftentimes can't go out on and do preaching activities yourself sometimes. And you could do all those things, and we should. But one of the main responsibilities of the grihastha, the householder, is to give financial support to the devotees in the temple who are engaged 24 hours a day in the Sankirtan, in the preaching movement. So, and it's a very important way to put an important thing to do, and it's a very important aspect of sacrifice, because everyone is very attached. I know when I got married, I got living in the temple for 15 years here, and then I got married. And when I got married, I started working. I had a job, and I started making money. And I thought, oh, look at me, I have money. And when you have money in your pocket, you're like, well, you feel like, look at me, look at me. And so that's attachment. You feel very attached. And I have this money now, I can buy things, whatever I want. So money is one of the biggest attachments that we have in the material world. So if we sacrifice, we have to sacrifice something that's dear to us. We sacrifice our time, our energy in the service of the Sankirtan movement. We sacrifice our mind and intelligence for studying the Bhagavad Gita. There's a verse in the Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says, those who study, or Sanjaya says, Krishna says, and those who study this sacred conversation between Krishna and Arjuna, they worship Krishna by their intelligence. So just to read the Bhagavad Gita as it is, the Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, those are acts of sacrifice, to take some time, serious time every day to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, japa, to have a temple in your home and chant, get the family together and chant Hare Krishna before your deities. That's a very important sacrifice or form of devotional service that everyone can do. It's not difficult, doesn't cost any money, but beyond that, we have to give our time and energy and money. It's a significant thing. Again, this is not a big donation pitch. Like, I'm going to pass around the hat now and everybody give till it hurts. It's not like that. But giving does hurt. They say give till it hurts, because it is painful for the conditioned soul to give their money. So that's something to think about, definitely think about and act upon. And so we can support, we take part as much as possible, and we support the preaching as much as possible, including financially. So there's one statement by Lord Chaitanya, or Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that Lord Chaitanya forgave all the offenses of the people, and he gave them his mercy. And he said, no one can escape the loving network of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we're all, it's like that quality of Krishna, all attractive. So all attractive, it means that it's like in the material world, we're attracted, somebody's attracted to this, somebody's attracted to that. And everyone is attracted to Krishna, whether they know it or not. Whatever we find attractive in the material world is just a reflection of the smallest part of Krishna's beauty and glory, love, whatever. It's just a small part, but it's everything that we're attracted to ultimately is Krishna. And there's a magnet. A magnet, you can't, and nobody can help but be attracted to Krishna. It's not possible. It's just like if there's a magnet and there's a piece of iron, the piece of iron can't decide, well, there's a magnet there, but I'm not going to go towards the magnet. The magnet can't do that. It has to be attracted to the magnet. So we have to be attracted to Krishna. We are attracted to Krishna, but we have to know that the purpose of the Krishna consciousness movement is to inform people, inform ourselves, and inform everyone who is in ignorance, which is everyone in the material world. We have to inform everyone that Krishna is that supreme personality of Godhead that you are attracted to, or you can't help but you're attracted to a reflection of Krishna's beauty. But you should just be attracted specifically to Krishna, that supreme person. That supreme person, Krishna, is the person who will never leave us. He's never left us. He's always with us. He's the closest thing, the closest person to us. We are non-different from Krishna. Shut that door. But we have no. Krishna is always with us. He is our very self. The only reason I can see you there, or you can see me there, I see the person. The only reason I can see, there's a person there, is because Krishna is there, manifesting himself, this tiny spark of himself, an individual jiva, but Krishna is there, manifesting himself as you or me, and therefore we can see, there's a person there. There's a person there because Krishna is there. And so we are eternally part and parcel of Krishna. We're nothing but Krishna, but that doesn't mean that we are, it's called simultaneously one and different from Krishna, eternally and inconceivably. We are Krishna, but we're not the supreme personality of Godhead. But we are attracted to Krishna. But we have to be attracted to Krishna directly, specifically, as a son of Maharaj, Nanda and Yashoda. We have to be attracted to the lover of the gopis, the friend of the cowherd boys, and then we can go join them. So no one can escape the loving network of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. No one can refuse or not be attracted to Krishna. And Lord Chaitanya, Krishna coming as Lord Chaitanya 500 years ago, he decided to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world, which he has done. Krishna consciousness, the chanting of Hare Krishna, he said, every town and village, my name will be heard and chanted. And 500 years ago or 100 years ago, you might think, well, what does that mean? That every town and village, people will chant Hare Krishna. I'm born in Mumbai. I'm born in Dwarka, Haridwar. I'm born in Vrindavan or Mayapur. What does it mean that Krishna's name will be chanted in every town and village in the world? But because it wasn't being chanted, but now it is. Now in every town and village in the world, the Hare Krishna mantra is heard and chanted, and that will increase. The ISKCON movement has only been outside of India for 55 years. It's a very short period of time, but in that short period of time, it's spread all over the world very rapidly. And you can imagine 100 years from now, 200 years from now, 500 years from now, you can imagine, we can't imagine, but we can try to imagine how much Krishna consciousness, the ocean of love of God, will be known and chanted. So millions and billions of devotees will be everywhere, all over the world, in every country, in every town and village. We're in the very beginning of this pioneer movement. Oh, it's already 6 o'clock. I guess I didn't keep track of the time. Anyways, we take it seriously. Take it very seriously and take an active part. The more we take an active part in the Krishna consciousness movement, the more we don't want to be bystanders and just watch it happen. We want to take full advantage of the spreading of the ocean of love of God all over the world and get unlimited mercy and benefit from Krishna, from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and become intimate associates of them, and go back home, back to God. Okay, I'll stop there. It's just a minute or so, so the curtains will open in a minute and we'll have kirtan. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, His Divine Srila Prabhupada ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, BPT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki, Namacharya Haridas Thakur ki, Yanche Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhari Shivasati Gaur Bhaktavinda ki, Ganga Maya Jamuna Maya ki, Mayapur Navadip Dham ki, Vrindavan Mathura Dham ki, Dwarkapuri Dham ki, Jagannathpuri Dham ki, Dwarkapuri Dham ki, Samkunda Radhakunda Giri Gaur Dham ki, Jaya Radha Madhava Astasaki Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki, Radha Gopi Vallabh ki, Panchatattva Bhagavan ki, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maiya ki, Gaur Nitai ki, Ananta Koti Vishnu Vrinda ki, Vrinda Devi Tulsi Maharani ki, Gaura Premanande. All glories to the Summit Devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the Summit Devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the Summit Devotees, Hare Krishna. All glory, Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada ki.
Namaste. Kashi Purbasha Vijasila Tankana Kalayi Iton Nisrinha Taratu Nisrinha Jato Meta Nisrinha Vaye Nisrinha Ridaye Nisrinha When we sing, I bring the
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming to our Sunday Kids program. As you all know that we have opened up the temple for all days. So now you can come morning for the morning program as well as for the evening people whenever you have time. And as well as Saturdays and Sundays. Saturday we have a Saturday night kirtan. So please do come for the Saturday night kirtan. We have been having so many kirtanians who are coming here and doing the kirtan. we want to make that program as big as possible. We also want to have the more participation of the devotees and the people here, so that we all can have 2 days of celebration. One day on Saturday and second day on Sunday. As usual, we have a Sunday feast. So Sunday feast program is still open. Anyone can come. So that's one more update for all of you. Of course, it's all day open now. No more earlier from 1 to 5 used to open, but nowadays we have kept it open for all days and for everybody, even those who are not vaccinated, even they can come by wearing the mask. Upcoming festivals, we have Ram Navami the next Sunday, so please do come and celebrate with us. So we'll be having a Pushpanjali to Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanumanji on next Sunday. So we'll have 6 to 6:30 Aarati, and 5 to 6 o'clock will be lecture, and 6:30 we'll have the Pushpanjali, and then followed by that we'll be having a drama, and then we'll have a Churu Prashad. So that's the program for the Ram Navami festival, and of course darshan will be open. They are there. Since it's a Sunday, so we'll have all day darshan open for on the Ram Navami. So today's piece is being sponsored by a couple of devotees. One is Vijaya Lakshmi, and the second is Anugarg Mataji. So they have sponsored today's piece. So yeah, and also of course, yeah, we have our very dear devotees, Goel Uncle's son, who has also sponsored, and he has sponsored for many Sundays. But of course, we would like to acknowledge that and thank you, Prabhu, for coming to our temple. He's visiting all the way from California, I guess. Yeah, so thank you again for sponsoring. Thank you for coming to our temple. So let's thank all these devotees and offer our prayers to Shri Radha Gopalava on their behalf by chanting the Om Hare Krishna Mantra. Please repeat after me. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, thank you, devotees, for sponsoring the Sunday feast. And those who want to sponsor the Ram Navami, please feel free. So it's a $201 for the Sunday and especially for the Ram Navami festival. And followed by that, after that, this year, we are going to have a Narasimha Chaturdashi in May, and then we'll be having 3 Rath Yatra festivals at 3 different places. One in Boston, second we are planning to do in Metro West region, in Northborough, and third one we might end up doing in Acton or somewhere near the Wellington region. So there are 3 different Rath Yatra festivals, upcoming festivals. We might end up doing in Malden and as well as maybe somewhere in the south. We do not know how much enthusiasm we'll have, but as of now, we are planning to host 3 different Rath Yatra festivals. So we have a lot to come, a lot to participate, and nothing. It's just like what's stopping us would be our enthusiasm. So it's just how much you want to participate this year. So we have a lot of opportunities. So please, gear up and be part of the different festivals. It's just a matter of time. And of course, we'll be having so many at different temples. They'll be celebrating Rath Yatra festival, especially in New York in the month of June. And then other temples they will be celebrating, especially in New Jersey. New Jersey has at least 3 different Rath Yatras, right? More than that. Yeah, different parts of it. Yeah, so we have 3, and Philadelphia in September, which we plan to do September. Our Rath Yatra in the month of September, exactly around 17th and 18th of September, where we will be celebrating Sri Prabhupada's Aravat festival as well. So stay tuned for all these wonderful festivals. Do come to the temple. Thank you once again. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Radha Gopala Bhagwan ki jai. Shri Raghunath Baladev Subhadra Maharaj ki jai. Shri Gauranga ki jai. Jai Gaur Premanande. Hare Krishna.